matter who you are, where you're from, or how little education you have, we've all got what it takes to be successful. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests, that's how Golden Gavel winner Zig Ziglar started the very first motivational speech I'd ever heard. Over 20 years ago, at a time when I was in desperate need of motivation. My new business was failing. The bills were piling up. I had to wonder, if I've got what it takes, why can't I find it? As if the man could hear me, he said, on the other hand, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or how much education you have. You'll never achieve the degree of success you can unless you first cultivate the habit of persistence. And I wanted to jump up and say, Zig, stop. If persistence is what it takes to develop success, I know where to find it. It's at home with my 3-year-old daughter. She's the princess of persistence. Yes, my younger daughter Valerie may have been 3, but she was, I swear, born a terrible 2. There wasn't a part of no she didn't understand. She didn't understand any of it. So I knew when I told her she couldn't have the dog that she was hounding me for, that wouldn't be the end of it. Because at 3, Valerie had developed what Zig called the first step in a cultivation of persistence. She had a dream, something she was passionate about. That dream was to have a dog. So, because Valerie had a dream she was passionate about, tell me, do you think she got the dog? No! You don't get what you want just because you have a dream. And besides, I had a dream of my own, not to have a dog. But did Valerie just roll over and play dead? Absolutely not. Because she had learned, even at 3, that getting what you want through persistence takes more than just a dream. You also need a plan of action, something to take you from where you are to where you want to go. You also need a scheme. Now, Valerie's scheme was fairly simple. She was going to brainwash us into submission by putting pictures of dogs all over the house. Actually, she was 3. All over the house. There were pictures of poodles in the pocket, of bulldogs in the bedroom. There were even shots of sheepdogs in the shower. So, because Valerie had a scheme, tell me, do you think now she got a dog? No! You don't get what you want just because you have a scheme. And besides, I was trying to run a home-made business. I had a scheme of my own. Keep dogs out of the house. But did that make Valerie even pause in her pursuit of puppy? Absolutely not. Because Valerie knew that in this life, no one really succeeds on their own. Not without help from other people, or at least one other person. So you do need a dream. And yes, you need a scheme. But you also need a team. Now, if you're the younger sister in the house, who's the most logical choice to be on your team? The older sister, that's right. The one who would finance the purchase of dog toys. There were dog toys outside my office. I nearly killed myself as I stepped out. That was it for me. I'd had enough. I called that 3-year-old culprit in front of me. I said, Valerie, why do we have dog toys in the house? We don't have a dog. She looked up at me and said, you're right, Dad. We don't have a dog. Yet. So, tell me, do you think now Valerie got the dog? No! She got 2. Now, I said it was because I didn't want the other dog to be alone. But the truth was, I learned I really like dogs. But fellow Toastmasters and guests, The most valuable thing I learned on that day was not that I love dogs, but a valuable lesson. My business was failing on that day. I was ready to quit. But I understood the lesson, and I reminded myself of how much I cherished my dream to have a business. That drove me back to the drawing board to rework my business plans. And with a little help from my friends, not overnight, but over time, slowly but surely, my business returned to normal, and today, I've been in business just short of 20 years. I am a believer in the power of persistence. How about you? Today, your dreams may not be in jeopardy, but the chances are that maybe someday. I would urge you to persist through the difficulties, not just only for your own benefit, but also for the greater good. Think about how different the world would be if Lincoln had given up after 13 failed political attempts. Think of how dull the world would be if Walt Disney had quit after 56 rejections of his first animated mouse, Steamboat Willie. Think about how dark the world would be if Edison had given up after 999 failed attempts to create the light bulb. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, those are some pretty high-profile examples. But for me, the most important example is a preschooler who got what she wanted, that dog, not through tantrums, not through tirades, not through tears, but through a dream, a scheme, and a team. Because for me, that's proof that maybe we all really do have what it takes to be successful. Sometimes, though, we just need a 3-year-old to help us find it.